ITV Coronation Street viewers work out Lou's fate as show exit confirmed. After watching the latest episode of the ITV show, Coronation Street fans declared, "We're not stupid," convinced they've figured out what lies ahead for Lou in the coming weeks. Since arriving on the cobbles with her husband Mick Michaelis, Lou has been at the center of drama, especially after Mick's harsh treatment of Maria's son, Liam, stirred tensions. With Mick now behind bars for the murder of Craig Tinker, Maria was shocked to see Lou inserting herself into Gary's life, driving a wedge further between the couple. Many viewers suspected Lou and Gary might begin an affair, and their suspicions seemed almost confirmed when Lou kissed Gary. Maria immediately saw this closeness as a warning sign, though she remains unaware of the danger Mick is still in and how much he's risking his life. The night of the unwanted kiss was the last time fans saw Gary, who fled the street to stay with his mother and get some distance from the women in his life. However, it's now been revealed that Gary is actually fighting for his life in hospital. In the latest episode, Maria's worries mounted as she reported Gary missing to the police. Meanwhile, Kit visited the hospital to verify the identity of a patient there. Gary was being cared for nearby, but confusion arose when he was referred to as Chesney. Fans quickly took to social media questioning this strange detail. One asked, "Did Gary somehow have Chesney's ID on him? Is Chesney missing too?" Another added, "Chesney? Sure, Gary's ginger, but they don't look alike at all." A third wrote, "Everything's making sense now with Corrie, but why are they calling him Chesney?" At Gary's bedside sat a mysterious woman who was soon revealed to be Lou, masquerading as his wife. However, the nurse wasn't addressing her by her real name, and viewers realized Lou was pretending to be Gemma, while her husband, Chesney, was fighting for his life. As viewers eagerly awaited the reveal of how Gary ended up in a coma, a tense flashback showed Lou striking him with a pipe, knocking him out cold. Once it was confirmed that Lou was behind the attack, Coronation Street fans flooded social media with reactions. One viewer stated, "I knew it was Lou." Another added, "Wow, it's Lou. Who didn't see that coming?" Everyone. A third agreed, "It was always obvious it would be Lou. We're not fools." Despite the dramatic episode, some fans couldn't help but point out parts of the storyline that felt unrealistic. Several expressed doubts about Gary being called Chesney by hospital staff. On X, one fan wrote, "So unbelievable. The hospital calling him Chesney? None of his medical records would match the real Chesney's." Another agreed, "What hospital doesn't keep records? This plot feels off." A third user commented, "It shouldn't have come to Maria reporting Gary missing. The Weatherfield NHS would have had him checked out and home the same day he was attacked." Fans have also begun speculating about Lou's fate, noting that both she and her troublemaking husband Mick seem to be part of a short-term storyline. One soap watcher guessed, "I'm betting Mick and Lou both end up in prison, Sally and Tim foster the girls, and Brody goes to Bernie or Kit." Another said, "I hope Lou pays for what she did to Gary by going to jail." A third added, "I can see this wrapping up next week with Mick and Lou behind bars." A fourth fan questioned the plot logic, and the police never investigated the coma patient? They should have taken statements from the supposed wife and the person who called the ambulance. Coronation Street airs every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is available to stream on ITVX. Coronation Street fans seal huge arrival to rock Lisa Swain after family confirmation. Additional insights into Lisa Swain's personal life were unveiled during her first therapy session on the ITV soap. Coronation Street fans now believe a major new character could soon arrive in Weatherfield, bringing major upheaval for D.S. Swain following the latest revelations about her background. It's been 4 years since viewers were first introduced to Lisa, who made her debut in 2021 as the officer in charge of the investigation into the brutal attack on Nina Lucas and Seb Franklin, which tragically resulted in Seb's death. Since then, Lisa has been involved in various cases and dramatic moments on the cobbles, but it wasn't until early last year that the audience began to see a deeper, more personal side of her character beyond the badge. This shift began during her pursuit of answers in the Lauren Bolton disappearance, when, despite her friend Roy Cropper being accused of the teen's murder, Lisa began to grow emotionally closer to Carla Connor. Lisa and Carla's relationship has continued to develop, but Lisa's past remains largely a mystery. Very little has been revealed about her former partner, the other mother of her daughter, Betsy Swain, aside from the fact that she died in the line of duty, a detail that came to light last year. More recently, it was revealed that Lisa's late partner was under investigation for corruption at the time of her death, though the specifics surrounding the case remain unknown. Since Betsy arrived in Weatherfield last summer, it's been evident that her relationship with Lisa has been strained, especially following Becky's death. However, their shared history continues to cause tension. The tragic loss of colleague PC Craig Tinker left Lisa emotionally shattered and resurfaced painful memories of her partner's death, ultimately leading her to accept the need for therapy. In Thursday's July 10 episode of Coronation Street, Lisa Swain was shown hesitantly attending her first therapy session. She didn't appear particularly enthusiastic, joking to the therapist that she thought she'd be lying on a sofa rambling about how your parents loved your sister more than you, before cheekily adding that she was actually the favorite. Lisa went on to say that if she needed to discuss Craig, she'd rather do so with her partner, but grew visibly more uneasy when Becky was brought up during the conversation. Yet, it was Lisa's brief reference to having a sister that really caught the attention of viewers. This comes shortly after fans began speculating that someone from Lisa's past might be making a dramatic entrance. Spoiler images suggest emotional moments are ahead, as actresses Allison King and Vicky Myers were seen filming scenes at Fletcher Moss Park in Didsbury for the long-running ITV soap. In the scene, Lisa appeared emotionally overwhelmed as she sat alone on a park bench before a concerned Carla arrived. The underworld boss looked eager to support her distraught partner, and the two appeared to share an intimate conversation. Some viewers have begun theorizing that the couple might be under surveillance, prompting speculation that a huge twist is on the horizon, possibly revealing that Becky is still alive, or that a long-lost family member of Lisa's is about to appear. Coronation Street has finally disclosed the truth behind Gary Windus's condition and the events that led to him falling into a coma, as shown in a special flashback sequence in this evening's episode. The soap has now clarified what truly occurred to Gary Windus and the circumstances that resulted in his coma, putting an end to weeks of fan theories and rumors. Tonight's installment used a sequence of past events to explain Gary's situation. Viewers had been anxious to discover the cause of his hospitalization and the identity of the unknown woman sitting beside him. The episode began with a worried Maria reporting Gary as missing, though Detective Sergeant Swain dismissed it as unimportant. Still, Kit Green decided to look into it and made his way to the hospital, where reports had surfaced about an unidentified man in a coma. But when he got there, it turned out the man in question wasn't Gary at all. Gary had actually been admitted under a false identity, Chesney Winter Brown. A woman was sitting beside him, and her true identity wasn't revealed until later. It turned out Lou was impersonating Gemma, continuing the lie that Gary was Chesney. A string of flashbacks then showed what had taken place between Gary and Lou that led to this complicated situation. Lou had pleaded with Gary for financial help, saying she needed money to escape with her children. However, after she falsely claimed to Maria that she and Gary were romantically involved, Gary decided to cut ties with her. He told her he might have considered lending her the cash, but after her deceitful behavior, he had changed his mind. Gary went further, telling Lou her children would likely be better off without her, and threatened to go to the authorities about her actions. Enraged by Gary's threat to report her for blackmail, potentially landing her in jail and leaving her kids without either parent, Lou snapped. In a fit of fury, she picked up a nearby object and struck Gary on the head, knocking him unconscious. She quickly hid as a visibly intoxicated Nina and Summer wandered past. Later, a passerby noticed Gary and called for an ambulance, prompting Lou to spin a false story. To cover her tracks, she told both the bystander and medical staff that Gary had tumbled down some metal stairs while they were trying to take a photo together. Privately, she pleaded with Gary to wake up, assuring him everything would be all right. Now that Lou's actions have come to light, and with a dramatic prison escape involving her husband Mick looming next week, it begs the question, are these two plots connected and is a major twist about to unfold?